Good afternoon, everyone. This is Christian with PerfectStockAlert.com, a 100% free service for smart investors and traders. Today is Tuesday, November the 30th, 2010, and like we do every night, let's have a look at the market, so check it out. Okay, the catalyst for the sell-off that we've seen in the past couple of weeks in the world markets has been driven by what's going on over there in Europe. And looking at this chart, you can clearly see that problem's not going away. It's getting worse. Yesterday, you had a substantial sell-off. Note this candlestick right here. You had major selling closed down. And then today, we gapped up and then sold off lower than that. You can learn multiple things from this. Number one, first off, you had the selling here that was very bearish. The next day they try to gap back up and pretend that it didn't happen, and bears shot them down again and shot them down lower. And that's very bearish. I'm putting another fork in it right there. You can add to your short here. Call this the top, put a stop here. You don't have much risk on that trade. Lots of downside potential there as this continues to grow to the downside. Again, note the candlestick length here. This is showing that the severity of the problem is growing. The momentum to the downside is increasing, and all these signs point down. So let's look at what's going on here in the U.S., the markets. Okay, a quick look here at the Dow Jones Industrial Average. She was down 46 points for the day. A second day closing below this blue line right here, this blue 50-day moving average. That's a bearish sign. You'll notice again, like I mentioned earlier, you're finding resistance at the middle Bollinger Band line, which is a telltale sign of reversal to the downside. And again, volume is still strong on the sell side here. This is a sneaky little chart, as I'm going to show you today. This market here in the U.S. is tried to reverse to the upside, but is losing that fight. Every single day that they are unable to actually reverse course back to the upside, they just keep losing here. We'll show you on the NASDAQ as well, but the main thing to point out here is that the market is maybe actually have peaked already here, which is what we think, and we think she's sneaking up on a major crash to the downside. If we look at some individual leaders in the markets here, you'll see that there might be some substantial sell signals in play here that you need to take note of. Okay, here we are looking at the NASDAQ. You'll notice we did fill a gap today here that we had and created one here. But this is not a low volume gap to the downside. This was a large volume gap to the downside. It doesn't have to fill anytime shortly. So I would again caution here on any hope on a move to the upside. There's very limited move to the upside here, and I don't even know that you actually have any. You're finding resistance at the middle Bollinger Band line right here. Okay, that makes sense. You should be seeing that just like you did on the Dow Jones. This would be your high, your peak, and this is just rolling over and increasing on the sell side here. You also notice you've still got 9 low volume gaps below you, all telling you that this right here is absolutely fake, and the major peak that you're looking for is right in front of you, right here, and she's going to continue to move to the downside. If we want confirmation on this chart, all we have to do is look at Apple. I found this signal on about half a dozen charts very easily, so there's probably many more out there, but you'll notice you've got this first shoulder, head formation, and then a secondary shoulder now rolling back over here, okay? And again, you'll notice there is good sell volume, increasing sell volume the higher it went. Okay, so this is starting to break down here and looking like a head and shoulders pattern. This would be the low point here, and this low point here would make the neckline. It wouldn't be considered a head and shoulders pattern until it closed below that point. But with the overall averages now pulling back down below their 50-day moving averages, blue line right here, I keep an eye on that, expecting that to happen. All right. What's going on over there in Europe is pulling down the world markets. That's the driving force. I do find a couple of sectors, and I mean just a couple, that are still strong, but they're in the commodities. I mean, that's what you expect. So we'll be looking at that again today. But the main thing here is be very cautious if you're long this market. Okay, gold came back to life here. We were watching this potential neckline here as we were seeing a potential for head and shoulders here. Okay, you got the first shoulder to the head, second shoulder started to roll over. That was concerning there. You had this neckline, but again, a head and shoulders pattern doesn't actually get called that until it breaks below that neckline. In this case, they've reversed course now back to the upside, and this is showing actually strength, a continuation signal to the upside here. That's also the one area I'm finding strength in individual companies is in commodities, so that's important to note. Everything else looks pretty sickly to me, especially the Euro chart. Okay, now you know what I know. We do have a couple of alerts coming out tonight on our website at perfectstockalert.com. Right there, 100% free. They will be there in about an hour after this video gets posted, so enjoy those. I think that's about all I have to say. A quick look at our disclaimer. The disclaimer, read it and weep. God bless, take care, and be safe out there.